Hello, fellow Rosarians. Thank you for joining me today. I have two roses that I want to move. It's February, 50 degrees. It's beautiful. So I thought that I would take you with me to show you how I move roses. You can see that this rose is technically waking up, but it's a great time to move your roses before they're fully awake. I love this rake because you can change the size of it so that it's not so large and you can get around things. So the first thing that I want to do, now that I've pulled back the mulch, is I want to tie Tess together so that she doesn't hurt me. Climbers are very limber. I'm sure I'm going to scratch myself a little bit here, all in the name of love. I'm going to do this in sections just because it's easier when she's a little unwieldy. Am I getting little love bites? Yes, but it's okay. All right, so I think that we've pulled this together pretty well. I'm not cutting any laterals yet because I want to see what I have to work with. I'm really enjoying training these in a structural way, and so with that I want to use as many of the laterals as I can. When you lift any rose, you want to try to keep some of the soil so that we're not disturbing it as much. I'm not sure how large these roots are, but this soil is very soft, so I can kind of feel around with my shovel while I'm here to see where I'm hitting roots so that I'm not slicing through them. And then I'm going to gently lift. I can feel something here. I don't know if it's a root, so I'm just moving to the side. And I'm not hitting any roots as I go through here with the shovel. If you do hit them, it's okay. Try to keep as much of the root as you can. Hopefully, this is the last of it. I'm going to give it a little tug. And here we are. It's a nice size root. So if we look here, I'd like to have it span on both sides. I think it'll be nice support here. It'll look nice in the corner. I've moved back the mulch, and what I'm trying to do is calculate, what size root ball do I really need? I don't need to go bonkers on this. For me, in clay soil, it really just needs to be the size of the root. I'm planning on pulling it back 12 inches from the support that I'm using so that I can angle it towards the wall. Oh, it is clay. I like to put a little gypsum in a new hole because gypsum is a soil conditioner and it'll soften things up over time. So I'm going to add in a handful of gypsum. I'm adding in a handful of rose tone. It is perfect in that hole. I'm not amending now. Besides that gypsum, I'm going to use my native soil so that the rose does not have two mixed mediums in here, and I don't want there to be any kind of pooling because the soil is just too soft from using something that's not as dense as the clay. So I'm going to break it up best I can. Tamp it down. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I don't have a great surface for adding any kind of support. I don't want to drill through it. So here's my solution. I have these supports that I'm going to put in the description, and these are awesome because they won't hurt your fence. You can use them to hang pots, whatever you need to do. And I'm going to set it up here. And I am also going to use one at the bottom that I'll show you. Let me make another one over here. And another one at the bottom. So 4 total for this rose as it's getting started. Okay, I'll even them up so that it looks like I planned it. Okay, and so I've got a nice support here. I can make supports across here now, connecting them. So let's start on this side so that we can get the rose kind of out of the way. Time for gloves, and we're going to undo her a little bit. We're looking for the strongest main canes. Those are going to be your thickest ones. Let's take down the string. See how she naturally wants to open up so that we can work with that. So looking at this, I can see back here, I've got a really nice cane. And so what I want to do is I'm going to tie her off with the gloves again. It's just too much when you're tying like this, so we'll just be careful. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do to give her support is I'm going to pull this cane over. Now, garden twine is going to break down, so you might have to retie these every year, but that's okay because you are going to be adjusting things as you train your rose anyways. So now you can see it's already lending itself to being trained over to this side. So let's go ahead and do that. I see this one here, but it is kind of going the wrong direction with what I want to do here. So if you see that the laterals are not going into the direction that you would like, I'm just spraying alcohol the first time that I'm using them, go ahead and clip it down, and I would go about 1/4 inch from the cane itself, and that's going to still, you know, do its thing and grow, but hopefully I can kind of train it into the direction that I want it to go. Actually, you know what? I'm going to cut this one all the way back. I still see a node here that is going, that node where I just cut it is actually going to grow this way. So let's put the energy going in that direction. So as I'm looking down here, I'm going to give you a view. All of these canes are going in the right direction. These canes here are forward facing. They're not doing anybody any good. I'm going to cut the canes that are facing forward. So when we look at the rose now, everything is kind of going in this direction. This one is not going in the right direction. Let's see if it's limber. It could be limber enough to move. We're going to have to see once we get in here. This side is actually done for everything that wants to go in this direction. And so what I'm going to do with this is something kind of fun. You're going to get more lateral breaks the more horizontal it is. And so we're going to pull this one. Do you see how limber they are? We're going to pull this one into a spiral. Okay, and now I'm going to pull it tight here, just to keep it secure so it doesn't move in the wind. And if I wanted to hold it very tight, I can choose one of these to pull it to also, so let's do that. So now let's focus on this side. Let's start with our largest cane so that we can make room for it. The first thing that we are going to do is tie it to this string here. If I like the shape and the form of this, I can use something a little bit stronger besides garden twine. I'm thinking fishing line. It's clear, you'll be able to see through it. It still ties. What is going in the wrong direction is anything that's coming forward right now that would be difficult to train. And I think I'll have enough canes over the years to do what I want. So I'm going to pull this one as close to the main cane there as I can. This one is also not going in the right direction. I'm pulling it back. Let's cut off everything that is forward facing. It would be helpful if I have a lateral string going across now to get to the next part. Okay, we're just going to tie this one gently. Let's tie this one against this cane to keep it thinking about going this way. All right, I think we have one last one here that we need to start thinking about training. Okay, I like it up here. I'm going to tie it against another cane because that's more rigid than my string. It's got a little bit of flexibility. We've been taught that canes can't rub against each other, that will hurt them. Because I'm tying these so tightly, they're not going to rub against each other. Okay, so I think that this is a good start. Okay, so let's look at what I did now. So I took out any of the canes that were forward facing and wanting to be, you know, not against the fence, not going in the right direction. Then I took first all of the main canes that were a little bit more rigid to start getting them going in the right direction. And then I tied them. If we get horizontal training, you'll have a lot more laterals that come off of it. This is just a start, but I anticipate that it will have a swoop going here. Very little growth. The small growth down here, it's training in the correct direction. And then when we look here at this, it's hard to see, but I have my string that I've added with my supports on the vinyl, and I have tied the canes. So they're kind of going in the right direction, and I will continue to work on them as they grow through the season. So I hope that this video was helpful, and I'll go ahead and do one more climber real quick for you on fast forward.